Welcome to Real Speak, the podcast where we, dive into strategies for communicating your professional worth. Today, we're exploring confident phrases to secure your next pay raise. I'm looking forward to unpacking that. What's the starting point for this conversation? Well, it all starts with preparation. You really need to do your homework. Research the market rates for your role, your experience, and your location. It's like you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, right? Absolutely. You can't just walk into that meeting empty-handed. And this research lays a solid, objective foundation for discussing your value. Exactly. One confident phrase might be, based on my research of the current market rates for your job title with number years of experience in your city region, the typical salary range is between $X and $Y. This shows you've done the legwork. Right. It conveys professionalism, and it shifts the conversation to data rather than feelings. But wouldn't some listeners get nervous if they don't have all that market data handy? That's a good point. If you haven't dug into the data as deeply, then it's extra critical to compile your personal achievements. Think of it like having your own list of wins ready to show how your work has directly contributed to the team. Yeah, I like that. So once you have your research and accomplishments ready, what's next? Next, it's about framing your conversation positively. For instance, you could say, "Thank you for meeting with me. I'm really enjoying my work here, and I'm committed to my future with the company. I'd like to discuss my compensation and how we can ensure it aligns with my contributions and the market." Right, that opener feels so collaborative. It doesn't come off as aggressive at all. You're essentially aligning your future with the company's success. Exactly. And then you transition by highlighting your achievements with phrases like, "I'm excited to continue contributing to the team's success. Over the past year, I've taken on additional responsibilities, such as specific tasks." This method brings in the context of your growth and builds the case for your raise. Yeah, it's all about the subtle art of self-advocacy. But sometimes, I feel the language can be a bit too rehearsed. Don't you think it risks sounding, inauthentic? I get that, but it really depends on your delivery. Using objective language, like quantifying a key achievement with, "In my role as your job title, I've successfully," key achievement, which resulted in a specific, quantifiable outcome, like a 15% increase in efficiency, makes it sound less like bragging and more like a factual statement. True, absolutely. Framing matters a lot, and when you state your request, you need to be direct. Avoid apologetic language. Right, direct and confident. For example, you might say, "Based on the value I've brought to the company, including mention one or two key achievements, and the market research I've conducted, I would like to request a salary increase to your desired salary." Yes, that clarity leaves little room for misinterpretation. But what if the manager hesitates or says the budget is tight? Well, that's where a flexible, solution-oriented approach comes in. If they say no or not right now, you might respond with, "I understand that the budget may be a consideration. Could we explore other possibilities, such as a one-time performance bonus, additional paid time off, or a professional development stipend?" Exactly. That's actually a smart pivot. Keeping the conversation positive while still advocating for your worth. And here's another gem. "I appreciate your transparency. Could we set a timeline to revisit this conversation in the next quarter? And what would be the key milestones I should aim to achieve to make a salary increase possible then?" This not only pushes the discussion further, but also sets clear expectations. Right on. It creates a roadmap for your progress. But I wonder, don't you think that there's a risk of sounding either too demanding or too submissive if the follow-up isn't handled well? You raise an excellent point. It's a delicate balance. If you come off too forceful, it might put your manager on the defensive. However, if you're too soft, they might not take your request seriously. It's like trying to find that sweet spot between assertiveness and collaboration. I appreciate that nuance because it's often overlooked. It's not just about the phrases, it's about the timing, the tone, and even the body language if you're in person. Right. And even in virtual meetings, your tone and words fill in for the body language. Speaking of which, clarity in your language is crucial. Avoiding fillers like "I'm sorry" when you're about to make your request helps maintain that air of confidence. Got it? It sounds like the entire conversation is really a rehearsal for standing in your power at work. Do you think these strategies are useful even if someone isn't in a high-stakes industry? Oh, definitely. Regardless of industry, everyone deserves recognition for their work. Every professional, whether in tech, education, or retail, can benefit from these strategies. It's about understanding your worth, and the market data supports that too. Right. So summarizing the key points. First, prepare by researching your industry standards and compiling your successes. Second, use confident, non-confrontational phrases to set a positive tone in the meeting. And third, be ready for whatever response you get, using flexibility to negotiate other benefits if the immediate raise isn't possible. Yes, that's exactly it. And another thing, this conversation isn't a one-off monologue. It's an ongoing, dynamic discussion about your growth. Even if the raise isn't immediate, framing it as a continuous journey with clear milestones can reinforce your long-term commitment to the company. Right. I appreciate how this approach turns a high-pressure situation into a constructive dialogue. But, what about those moments when emotions run high? How do you keep things calm and professional? Great question. Keeping a calm demeanor is key. Prepare mentally before the meeting, maybe even rehearse with a trusted friend. And if you sense tension, you can always slow down, take a deep breath, and let the facts, your research and achievements, speak for you. Absolutely. Staying composed under pressure is crucial. It reminds me of a story a colleague shared. He was about to lose his cool when he remembered to stick to the data and his prepared phrases. It turned a potentially awkward situation into a productive discussion. Exactly. Stories like that underscore the power of preparation. And if you ever sense you're coming off too aggressive, a simple pause can let your message sink in rather than overwhelming your manager. Yeah. Now, let's touch on potential follow-ups if the initial conversation doesn't go as planned. How should one respond? If you get a no or not right now, acknowledge it gracefully. For instance, say, "I understand the budget constraints at this moment. Could we perhaps explore other alternatives or set a firm timeline to revisit our discussion?" This shows respect for the constraints but still keeps your goals intact. That's key. Not giving up outright, but instead, gently steering the conversation towards future opportunities. Yes, it's like planting a seed for your growth. Even if nothing changes immediately, you're setting clear expectations for the next review. Plus, it opens the door to discussing non-monetary benefits, which can also be valuable. Absolutely. It's a smart strategy, really. And I think it's important to remember that this negotiation is part of a larger narrative around professional development. Every conversation, every data point, reinforces your commitment to the company. Exactly. In the end, it's about recognizing your personal growth and aligning it with market realities. When you do that, you convey a message of confidence and self-respect that hardly anyone can ignore. Yeah, I totally see that. So, to wrap up, the process is simple. Prepare thoroughly, use confident language, be flexible if needed, and always view the negotiation as a dialogue rather than a demand. Right. And by sticking to these strategies, you're not just asking for a raise, you're affirming your professional value. And remember, every step you take in your career is part of a larger journey toward personal and financial growth. Indeed. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Now go out there, armed with these confident phrases, and get ready to secure that raise. That's a wrap for today. Keep preparing, keep growing, and remember, you're worth it. If you feel this video is useful, please like, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel, Real Speak English. Thank you for watching and see you again.